Okay, guys, good evening. It is now 10 p.m. on Thursday, October 12th, 2017. Again, 10 p.m. New York time. Hope everyone's doing good, having a good week. It's been a little quiet in the markets this week, but I did want to talk about U.S. dollar news and potential opportunity for tomorrow on Friday. And so just to kind of reset and back up, on Wednesday we had the FOMC monetary policy meeting minutes that came out, and I have this pulled up on forexlive.com. You can see this was put out on Wednesday when the meeting minutes came out, and the minutes themselves were kind of neutral. What wasn't really too much. So the market really, in terms of price, didn't really do a lot. But one thing is very clear, which we kind of knew anyways, but these minutes really reinforced it, that what the Fed really is most concentrating on right now is inflation. In fact, if you look at these bullet points from this posting on Forex Live, and if you want to read this, you're going to, obviously, since it was Wednesday, you have to go back pretty far in their blog feed. Probably have to go, at this point, 5 or 6 pages back, but you'll find it, and this is what it's called if you want to read it. But anyways, if you look at this, look at how many times we got inflation, 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 inflation. Inflation, 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 inflation. Okay, so you get the point. So this is clearly what the Fed is concentrating on, and therefore those are the key data points that come out that are going to determine what happens with the U.S. dollar. Because they've hiked rates twice, and there's a possibility of a third hike in December, but it's all data driven, as it says in here. And obviously, like I said, inflation is really what they're concentrating on. Okay, whether they're going to decide to hike rates or not, and that's going to drive the dollar. So now if we look at the Forex Factory calendar. So today at 8:30 New York time, we had the PPI come out, which is the producer price index. So this is an inflationary number. Maybe not as important as the CPI and the PCE, but PPI is an important number, producer price index. And you can see the month-over-month headline number came out just as expected. So I think if we had seen a positive deviation on this, it would have been a much more pronounced move. And we saw the core up significantly over the projection. And we also saw unemployment claims better than expected. But this number honestly is really not followed very much. They keep this as red level, but it's really not. So I basically just ignore this. The only unemployment numbers that really count is non-farm payroll. In terms of job numbers and stuff. So that's NFP is not unemployment, but it's employment numbers. But anyway, so I'd say mildly bullish report, and the U.S. dollar did rally for a short time on that news, although it didn't last. And we did see kind of a consolidation around late morning today. So tomorrow we have what's probably bigger, which is US CPI. So this is the consumer price index. So, of course, PPI, which is producer price index. So this is the cost of goods that manufacturers have to pay to produce their goods. So if those costs go up, then that leads to inflation, is the theory, because if their costs go up, then they have to pass that cost on down to the end user or buyer of their product, and that just drives overall inflation in the market. So that's why the PPI is important. The CPI is a consumer price index, so this is the bottom line price on the street that you and I pay for stuff. All right, so now you have the headline and you have the core number. The core number is basically like your more volatile things that are teased out, like energy and food. Again, those are the more volatile things. So they put out the headline number, which includes everything, and then they tease out the core. And you can see they have those both as red level. And we also have retail sales coming out tomorrow. Now, this is an important number, but probably not so much as the CPI. But if we get congruence of all of these in one direction or another, that's going to be really important. But again, I think the two more important ones are the CPI and core CPI. Retail sales is important, but not as important as these two, because again, as you saw from the FOMC minutes, inflation is really what they care about. And remember, regardless of what technical system you use, fundamentals are what drive currency prices. Okay, there's just no denying that. Price patterns and technicals are the manifestation of those moves, how they look on a chart, but it is the fundamentals and things like this that drive long-term currency moves, and get nice trends going. So, and again, it's not that technicals are not important. I mean, I use Elliott wave, which I think is the best of all technical systems, because it's not just a technical chart system. It also, Elliott wave is a psychological system too, because it really embodies greed and fear in the market, and I think takes market psychology into place, and in its patterns. So I think that these are definitely important numbers, and when you combine it with your technicals, they are important. So they're expecting on the month over month to be 0.6, which is better than the previous month. They're expecting the core to stay the same, and so we'll see how these come out. So now we'll go to the charts and just look at a couple of dollar pairs. So here's the pound dollar, and the pound got beat up pretty good today on just some negative pound news. So this is the 12-hour chart, and the pound did go down quite a bit here, and then it reversed and came back up. So if we go down to a lower time frame, I actually did take this short, and I got out right here at the bottom. I didn't expect this to really be a long-term trade. So let me just delete all these. Actually, I'll just do this. Okay. So on the pound, I was looking earlier and thinking that this move up here is a corrective move, and that we're going to probably see the pound sell off. I was not expecting when I was looking at this earlier to have this pushed up this high. So depending how this looks tomorrow morning, that could change my outlook. But again, some of this is being driven by the pound. But this is potentially a wave 4 that's still in progress here. So let's look at some other pairs. Here's the U.S. Canadian. Again, if we zoom out a little bit, the U.S. Canadian been going up, and I do potentially expect this to continue to the upside. Now, if you look at this price action here, we have a move down, then we have this little sideways moving up, move down, sideways moving up, move down, and now we're kind of moving sideways again. So if in the morning I see the price somewhere up in here, then I'm going to assume a short position, because that would probably just mean that it's going to move like this and then down. But if we see it going down and it's anywhere around this low or anywhere below here above this arrow, then that to me would mean the end of a correction and the price is going to go up. So it's going to be really important. I mean, we're still 10 hours or so from this news, 10.5 hours from this news. So there's going to be more candles. This is the 3-hour chart. So we're certainly going to get a few more of these candles. U.S. Swiss, again on the U.S. Swiss, this looks like pretty bullish action here. So it's going to depend what I see tomorrow morning on this, whether we're going to turn and continue the uptrend. This is a correction down, and then we go up from here. So again, let's see where this is at in the morning, and let's just look at a couple more. Okay, so this is the Aussie dollar, which I had labeled previously, and I'm still leaving this labeling as accurate. So here we are on the 12-hour chart. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm still looking at this as going down. At this move, this I'm looking at this correction here was within the wave 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're heading up to 4, and so I'm thinking that if we see price action heading up in the morning towards this red line, anywhere between where it is now and this red line, that would be the setup for the wave 5 and then a move down. And if we get up to anywhere around that area, then even if we just go back to the recent low, it's still 130 pips. Now this is where Elliott wave can come into context here in terms of determination. If this price action continues up and takes out this high, and certainly if it gets up to here, that would void this whole pattern in terms of this going down. Because normally a wave 4 retraces back to the wave 4 of the previous trend of 1 less degree. So this is the overall pattern, but within here this is a wave 3. So within this wave 3 there's also 5 waves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this price action should not take out this high. That's why I have this as kind of my line in the sand. If we get up to this here, even if it pokes through a little bit, I'm still looking to short this pair. So of course that would mean the dollar news would be positive. And if we look at the Kiwi dollar, we have pretty much the same setup on the Kiwi dollar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, same thing. We get up, we're approaching this red line. This is the 8-hour chart, so we'll paint 1 more of these and 1.5 more of these. So certainly I think we could be up in this area, and I'll be looking to sell the Kiwi dollar. Again, positive for the dollar. And this is the Euro dollar. And we'll see where this goes. Now I had labeled this earlier today as a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 up. Now this is a 2-hour chart, so we're going to get about 5 more of these candles before the news comes out. So certainly, we could see this go back and approach this recent high. I mean, that's only 33 pips. We certainly can do that in 5 candles, and I wouldn't be surprised if it goes higher than that. So, so that's what I'm looking at. And again, that would be, if we're seeing it go up here, then see the euro dollar sell off again. That would be dollar positive too. So the Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar, Euro dollar are suggesting, depending how they look in the morning, to be dollar positive. US Swiss, I would say dollar positive too, because this is kind of correcting down. We have this strong move up, and now I have these overlapping waves. This may continue down into the early London session, and it gets down maybe into this area and then goes back up. US Canadian, same thing. I'm expecting that maybe we'll see 1 more push down before the news. If I see the price anywhere from about this area down, expect it to go up. Same thing on the US yen. Same thing, strong move up, kind of moving sideways down now. If we continue to see that action, I'd be looking to buy the dollar at the news. So, and then although this price action is pretty strong on the pound dollar, I still think that the pound dollar will go down. And so overall, guys, my expectation is it'll be positive for the dollar on this news, and especially if we get green across the board here, even on retail sales, we'll definitely see some nice movement on the US dollar to the upside. All right, so I hope that makes sense, guys, and remember, use whatever technical system you want, but understand that this is these numbers, these fundamental data points really drive the market, and inflation is key right now for the dollar. This is what the Fed is concentrating on. So I'd put aside anything else other than inflation numbers, and CPI is one of the biggest ones. So maybe I'll make another video as a follow-up tomorrow, but I hope that was helpful. And any questions or comments, leave them under the video. Like the video, share it, whatever. I appreciate it. And trade safe. Make your own decisions. Everything I said here is just my own opinion. And of course, I reserve the right to change it if I look tomorrow morning an hour before the news comes out and it looks completely different. Then everything is off. But as of 10:15 p.m. right now, this is what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm going to go with. So, but I certainly will take another look tomorrow morning and make my final decision. And I encourage you to do the same thing, regardless of what your opinion is on it. Trade safe and use good money management. All right, guys, have a great night, and maybe I'll make a follow-up video after the news is out, and see where we're at. So have a great night. Talk to everyone soon.